on so you can see my face. Bright, but a little smoky day. So yeah, I going through some of the comments here before I hit the live button. First off, thank you to Bradley for becoming a member of the channel, as well them to the show here. And you guys don't be afraid to jump right into the chat and ask questions. That's what it's there for. See, Dennis already said, welcome, Bradley. And if this is the same Dennis that's local that I'm thinking of, we were just replacing some locks and keys on your Warthog bike. So there you go. We are working on that. And just waiting for those batteries of yours to come back. All right. What's the other questions? Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. He said, are you in any danger from the fires? So many I can't keep track of them anymore. It does feel that way some days that there are so many. So thankfully we are not in any immediate danger in Grass Valley, California. There are a lot of fires going on. And again, thank you to all the firefighters that are out there working on things. They have been going non-stop the last few months and no sign of that slowing down at any time. So obviously we get the smoke, and I suppose that could be dangerous or hazardous to your health, but all right, I lost you for a second there, guys. I'm gonna try and hopefully fix our Wi-Fi connection, not Wi-Fi, our hardwired connection. We should be plugged in. I'm coming back if I disappear. Don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. Technical problems. I'm hoping. All right, if you can hear me, I'll be right back. Okay, I should be back with a good connection now. It helps if everything is plugged in where it's supposed to be. All right, so I apologize for the delay. I don't know what you guys heard or what the quality of that video was like early on, but yes, we are safe from the fires. There is a lot of smoke in the area, and I was just going through the comments. Wayne, that's where I left off. That's where I think I left off. Let me know if I need to repeat anything. Good morning. Finally made it before the live stream starts. Great. Happy to have you here. Henry, after last week's review, I wonder how this bike will score. That is an excellent comment because that is the first thing I want to address. For those that were here last week and watched the review of the Engwe mountain bike, it had a few issues. So let's talk about those first. Well, not the issues, but rather the resolution. Because, of course, when I put these video reviews out, the companies, aliens are trying to kidnap. It's a conspiracy. Don't worry, it was just a bad internet connection. It's fixed. Congratulations to Ted, whose Blackbird has shipped. But naturally, when I put these videos out, Thank you for joining, Richard. There are obviously there's always the possibility that the bike isn't very good. And that's kind of one of those internal struggles where it's like, well, if the bike isn't any good and I say it isn't any good, the company who sent me the bike may not want to send me any more bikes. And that is a real possibility. And I'm okay with that because my responsibility is not to any of the e-bike companies that are out there. It is to you guys and making sure that you are getting good, accurate information. So yes, the Engwe bike from last week had some issues. Awesome. Look at all of these new people today. Jerome, thank you for being a member of the YouTube channel. Please, chat, let us know what questions you have. So the Engwe mountain bike had some rust on the frame, which was obviously just bad in general, but it didn't make sense because it was supposed to be aluminum. There were some other little issues with the bike, and Engwe emailed me after the video because naturally they watched it. And although, of course, they were disappointed with the quality of the bike and how it showed up to me, they did the right thing. If you actually go to their website right now and look for that bike, you'll see it's not listed. When that video came out, I released that information. They stopped production, they stopped selling the bikes, and they basically started reviewing, the manufacturing process on the frames and the paint issues that we saw. And they decided to get everything checked out and see if they can either fix them or what they can do before they continue selling them. And that's the right thing to do. So congratulations, Engwe, for stepping up and, in my mind, taking care of that. I don't know what the end resolution is going to be, but they basically removed them from the website. They stopped selling them, and they went back to their factories. And they sent me an email with all this information, and I told them that I would go ahead and share this with you guys as well and just give them the update that I think they did the right thing. Basically, effectively pulling the bikes from the shelves, so to speak, until they can get that sorted out. And it is supposed to be a much lower entry-level, cheaper bike. That's what they want it to be, but obviously without the quality issues that we saw. And I also told you guys from that video that I had already looked at the folding bike, and from my initial impressions, it was like it was made at a totally different factory. Quality-wise, just night and day difference. Now, I'm not saying that anything about the review yet, but I'm just saying everything you heard from last week's video does not apply to this bike. So I feel like you can just kind of forget everything I said about the other bike. Don't worry about it because they're stepping up, and I think they're trying to take care of it. So yeah, I see the comments. They did the right thing. That's good. We'll see. That is a good thing. They pulled a defective bike to fix things. Yeah. And anyway, whenever you watch this, or if you're watching this right now, hopefully you can see that in the chat that when you just do the right thing, people are happy about it. So this is the Engwe EP2. They have a few different versions of this bike. They have one that they call like the Pro model. They come in a lot of different cool color combinations. This one is black with like some red like pinstriping going on here. Just a neat looking little folding bike. No major surprises on this to me. The bike, the 500 watt model on their website starts at about $1,200. It's $1,199, and I feel like this is a good competitor to something like the electric XP models. The original electric was $899, like $900, and was obviously a few hundred cheaper, but smaller battery, no suspension fork. Now they have I think they call it a 2.0 model, which is like $100 more, and it gets a suspension fork. They made a couple other small changes. So this is like, okay, you like something similar to the electric XP brand, but maybe you want something even a little nicer. You want to spend maybe a couple $100 more. Price point, that's where that is. Quality specs wise, does it deliver? for $200 more? Well, we're going to find out. And I just see another new member, Robert Noah. And that looks like Robert Noah, who won a Bolton e-bike from us quite some time ago. Thanks, Robert. Welcome. He says, I had to join. Awesome. Well, we appreciate you being here. Looks like a Mate X. I'd agree. Very, very similar frame style. These frames can be found, or frames like it, on a lot of different brands. Really similar to the Mate X bike. That bike, did a review on that a long time ago, had quite a few quality issues and company issues just in general. Thankfully, I'm not seeing that here. So let's get the bike a little bit closer. Jerome says, a wee small for me, 6'6". Yeah, I'm gonna say, yeah, I agree with that. I wonder if they offer pink pinstriping. That's a good question. Here, let's see if I can just share my screen here while we're at it. And we'll review the website real quick before I get close up with the bike. Let's see. Share screen. Let's go to their website. Here we go. Dun. All right, here we go. Oh, I mentioned when I was on the live stream last week that they had a bunch of pop-ups on their website, and it was hard for me to like look at certain things. They actually fixed that too. So they really did listen to what we were doing. So it looks like the little slash, well, I don't know what that means. Oh, sold out. Okay, so a lot of these obviously are sold out right now. But here's a lot of the color options they've got. So they've got like gray. It's kind of hard to see my screen out here. Black, orange. I like the orange. White, which has a little bit of that orange striping on it. Red, this blue color. Oh, I was not expecting like a camo. That's cool. A lot of color options. So that, I guess, is something. Oh, see, and I told you guys $11.99, $10.99. See, I didn't even tell you the right price on the starting of the bike. So $100 more than the Electric XP 2.0. So there you go. There's where it falls in price-wise and competitor-wise. A lot cheaper than the, say the Rad Mini folding bikes. Very close. Well, it's cheaper than the Crusader Avenger folding bikes that I sell. But those have a couple of things that make them more expensive for, I think, good reason. So that's where this thing falls. So again, I'm looking at the 500 watt model, and they say 18 miles an hour. Should go a little faster than that, I would imagine. Mechanical disc brakes. It has a 48 volt, 12.5 amp hour battery. So this is what I'm going to say is basically what you're getting for your extra $100 from an electric model. You're getting a bigger battery. Those are slightly under 10 amp hours, which in my opinion these days is pretty small. So 12.5 amp hour on this. Just for comparison, if you go up to the Avenger Crusader bikes that I sell, we just had to bump the price up a little. They're $15.99, but they have a big 17.5 amp hour battery and a color display. Those are the two things that make that bike more expensive. My bikes don't have a suspension fork. This does. That's another difference to be aware of. Suspension fork is an expensive fork, but it's got one. So, take that for what it's worth. I prefer to put on really high quality forks if we're going to put one on at all. That's just my personal preference. That's what we do. But this 20-inch fat tire bike, folding. Somebody mentioned weight in the comments in the chat, 70 pounds. It is pretty hefty for a folding bike. Most of them are going to say are in the lower 60-some pound range. I've seen this with the, I guess the answer to the pink pinstriping is no. I think the reason for that is the wheels. I've seen that on the juiced bikes, and I'm embarrassed. That was a joke. That's funny. But the wheels, they've got these big cast wheels, which are going to be durable, but in my experience, they don't really offer any great advantage. They look kind of cool, but they're heavy. Those wheels add almost an extra 10 pounds. So that's where a lot of the weight is coming from. If you like the look, great. If you want a lighter bike, that's what they offer. Those wheels are heavier. Yeah, heavy rims, Jerry says. I agree. But they're not bad wheels. I've never heard of anyone breaking them or anything. They're just kind of heavy. All right, so that's the bike in a nutshell. You know, it comes with all the usual stuff: a charger, small toolkit, you know, some basic instructions. The bike, I kind of wish that I filmed the unboxing, but I always like to do the unboxing first because that takes so much time on camera, and we don't know what sort of problems we're going to run into. This thing was packaged really safely but weird. But it's safely but weird. So I've never seen this done before on an e-bike. This is the first time. Imagine the bike, right, being folded up and then put into a bag. And then that bag is put into the box, and then they spray foamed inside the box, and it completely encapsulated the entire bike with foam. So when you pull it out, you basically have this block, this cube of foam with a bike trapped in the middle of it. And the foam is not touching the bike because it's in a bag. So it's pretty well protected. It was kind of strange. It was a lot of like waste foam stuff to try and throw in the trash. So just kind of a little odd. I mean, it worked. I think it was effective. Never seen that before, but it was interesting. Something to be aware of. If you buy one of these, don't be surprised when it shows up and it looks like fruit encapsulated in Jello. That's the only comparison I can think of. All right, let's check out the bike in person. Can the wheel speed run tubeless? I'm going to say no. These are inexpensive rims, tires, wheels, everything. Definitely not designed to be tubeless. The tires are the Chow Yang 20 by 4-inch tires. We've run these tires on our bikes for years. I've seen people on the 26-inch versions get as much as 4,000 miles out of these tires. The Kenda tires you see on a lot of other bikes sometimes wear out in less than 1,000 miles. So tires are good on the bike. Those will last a good long time. They're durable. You know, flat prevention, that's a whole nother subject. You need something else to prevent flats. But you know, I got a little dust on the paint job. The paint on this one looks perfectly fine. Which I didn't mention that on the mountain bike I was referring to earlier last week with the paint problems. And it was in fact a steel frame. We did confirm that. And they knew it had been changed to a steel frame, but they did not update the website. So that was something they were going to correct, but I see they took the whole bike down. So they're fixing everything before they put that back up. But this, as far as I know, all the specs online are correct. So we've got the motor hidden in those kind of cast wheels there. Standard kickstand, standard folding pedals. Nothing out of the ordinary here. In case you're comparing to other bikes, the axle at the front, you know, I did this last time and I feel like it worked better. We're going to take the camera off of here again and hopefully I don't lose you. There we go. All right. There we go. Now, axle on the front is bolted on. It's not a quick release. This just, you know, it's one place where they can save a little bit on cost. The brakes I have seen before on other bikes, very basic mechanical brakes. They work if they're adjusted properly. If they're not, they don't, but they work. Fenders, they look nice. They feel fine. They're plastic. I don't foresee any issues with those, front or rear. They're mounted, sturdy. They look just fine. They're going to be functional. Charge port is right here. One of the things with the Mate X bike I didn't like was their charge port design. This is better, but you do kind of have to be careful when you plug it in. It says, don't touch the charging port with metal objects. And they show a picture of keys and like a screwdriver. I've seen people do that, so that's why they got to put that there. Obviously, don't do that. So that charging port is, I would say, better than what the Mate had, because the connector they used was just asking for trouble. Standard folding neck stem setup right here. Again, no surprises. This is the suspension fork. It has a preload adjustment on one side, has a lockout on the other. You know, I bounced up and down on it a little bit, riding up and down the road. You know, I can bottom the fork out if I try. This is a little 20-inch fat tire folding bike. It's not meant for off-roading. Jessica got to do a little off-road trail riding on the Avenger bike. She could probably tell you in the comments now that she's done that versus her usual fat tire bike. They work, they'll get the job done, but there are better bikes for that type of thing. Let's see. Is any e-bike made in this country, says Bradley Munger. Well, that depends. What country are you in? I'm in the United States, and no, they're not. Key ignition on the bike. Oh, so yeah, on the Made in America question, no, there's no 100% Made in America electric bike. There are some that claim to be, there are some that have some parts made in America. 100%, no. I've looked. There are no tires made in the US. There are no drivetrains made in the US. There's no brakes made in the US. Technically, by definition, by law, to say made in the US, it has to be like virtually all components need to be made in the US. Personally, I think if your tires and your brakes and your drivetrain are not made in the US, that doesn't really qualify, because those are pretty big pieces. So basically all e-bikes are made in China, maybe some components in Taiwan. Keys are right here. These are for unlocking the battery. They don't do anything as far as turning the bike on or off. They're just for pulling the battery out, not needed to operate. There's a fancy little card here. Enjoy riding. That's nice. Once again, standard mechanical brakes, just pretty standard rubber. They're like the Comfort style grips, but they're a little hard. Nothing, I mean, they're not hard enough that I would even bother changing them. It does come with a bell. 7-speed Shimano thumb shifter, pretty standard on bikes in this price range. The saddle is nice. That's actually kind of like a comfortable saddle that they put on there. Where they did skimp a little bit was on the seat post setup. This is a cheaper design. It doesn't cost as much. I don't think it works as well. It's what it's got. You know, I don't really like those as much, but you know, it didn't come loose while I was riding around, and that's always something you could change. This was a little weird. The seat post isn't the same size as the seat tube, not abnormal, but the shim they used is plastic. I don't think I've ever seen a plastic shim. I would prefer to see that either the right size or metal. Just something to be aware of. And other than that, cadence sensor, there's your pedal assist. You know, the connectors are running alongside the bottom of the frame. You know, everything looks like it's assembled well. It's clean. I don't see the quality issue like I saw on the other bike. Like I said, it's like it's made in a totally different factory. It looks pretty good. It's got a working brake light on the back. So it has all the basics: brake light, headlight. It's got the rack. It's got the fenders. It's a good, complete bike. And let's jump back to your comments here. There you go. Yeah, my bike has that style. It's old school. Be hard to adjust. Yeah, it's not the best, but it works. It does not have a bell on this bike. It's just the headlight function. Good question about the display. Let's run through the display. I also see Ted wants to see how it's folded. All right, now I haven't folded this particular bike a whole bunch. So if you want to see that on camera, let me know. We can make that happen. Let's check out the display first. I'm gonna have to bring the bike a little closer. There we go. All right, display time. Hopefully we can get an angle where you can see this in the sun. Power button right here. We have minus and plus for our pedal assist settings. And there's a couple of buttons on the side. One's for the light and one changes some of the modes. So if we hold this down, there's our display. I hope this is going to show up. Displays are always tricky to capture on camera. We've got miles in the middle, our pedal assist setting right here, 0 through 5, odometer, trip meter at the bottom. Battery level is just these little bars right here on the top corner. And if we press the button on the side, it goes from trip, odometer, maximum speed, average speed. And then again, that button on the side is to turn the headlight on and off, which dims the screen slightly when you turn it on. So no voltage on the display, no other more advanced functions. It's pretty basic. It works. It's probably hard to see on camera, harder than it is in person. It's a kind of a glossy screen, so if you get the wrong angle, it can be hard to see. But most of the time I can see this just fine in the daytime, but I don't know how well that's showing up on camera. If I missed anything on the display or went too fast, ask away. It is not a color display. It's a black and white LCD type of display. Folding. Sure, we can try the folding. All right, let's, I'm definitely am not able to hold the camera and fold it at the same time. Not that talented. We need both hands for any folding action of the bike. All right, let's get this set up right there. We're gonna move this down here. Okay, that should work. All right, so normally the folding bike, probably the first thing I do is pedals, fold up, just like that. Depends on the bike where the best place to put the cranks is, but there usually is one spot where it's out of the way more than not. Usually the kickstand needs to be out of the way. Handlebar wise, this one, it has this quick release for moving the bars up and down. That's just for when you're riding. So usually I would estimate to have that down. This guy right here, there's a little safety mechanism. And then once that's undone, we can pop this guy open. This folds off to the side. Now, I will stop here just because I've seen some people put their bike folded in like an RV or the back of a camper or something. And sometimes this is all you need to do because it turns the handlebars in line with the bike instead of at an angle, 90 degrees. And it also shortens it. So if you've got like a truck with a camper on it, you can roll the bike in like this and it will fit underneath that. And it also can fit into a narrow space somewhere. So just be aware that with these folding bikes, you don't have to have it all the way folded, all the way unfolded. Sometimes there's an in-between that actually works well too. There's another safety latch, which you can't see on this side. And then we have the big latch in the middle of the bike. We pop open and then the bike should swing smoothly that way. There we go. And it rests on that little stand in the middle. It's on a slight incline here in the gravel, but here's what the bike looks like completely folded up. There's no latch or mechanism to hold the bike together. You just kind of have to do that on your own when you're moving it around. Some people will grab like a Velcro strap. You can buy them on Amazon or the hardware store and go around the frame and the fork to kind of hold it together. Also, one of the other tips I've seen is people take this whole thing and they just put it in like one of those Rubbermaid style bins you can buy at the hardware store. You just get one big enough and then you can easily lift the bin, or even better, I've seen people take like a board and then this is just sitting on the ground and they can just push the bin up a ramp effectively into the back of their car or truck. So lots of options on how to store and move folding bikes around. If we need a little more room, you can always put the seat down. I hope that helps understand. Most of these folding bikes operate basically the same way. Cynical Zombie, I think I already answered that, but no, they do not include a strap of any sort to hold it together. So that's how it goes together. Let's adjust this back up a little bit. Let's unfold it. And it's time to tell you guys how it rides. I think that's all we got left with this one. So unfolding, we just repeat the process, which you're not going to be able to see very well. It's going to make some noises here. Pop that in, put our safety latch in, put our handlebars up, clamp that, safety in, pedals back up, and we are done. That's all there is to it. We're ready to ride. So really easy to fold and unfold this style of bike. I didn't see any problems doing that. I do feel like this frame was probably originally designed with a rigid fork, because the folding is a little funky because of the extra length right there. That's just something to be aware of. It works, but I feel like it would be even more compact and it would fold up right if it didn't have a suspension fork. But I know that's something people want. Easy lift, 75 pounds. So they said 70 pounds. I haven't weighed it. I didn't show this when it was folded, but I can do it right here as well. This spot right here actually works pretty well as a handle. So you can grab right here and lift right there. That's almost at the center of the bike. And yeah, it's kind of hefty, but it can be done. Again, let's ride it. So turn the display on. Just hold that button for a few seconds. I'm in kind of the middle range on the gears. Battery's not fully charged, so this is just an average amount of power. So let's start out pedal assist 0. This is me just pedaling. Okay, now bump it up to 1. Very light assist on 1, which is good. You can go a long ways on that. 2. 2's got a big jump. 1 to 2 is like, feels like 3 times as much power. 3. All right, I'm stopped. Here's number 3. No throttle, just using pedal assist. Okay. Here's what it looks like on 4. And motor kicking in. So pedal assist thoughts. 1 is real weak, which is fine if you're on flat ground and you just want a tiny bit to overcome the weight and everything. 1 is perfect. 2 and 3 are a big jump from there. And then I feel like when you go to 4 and 5, there's not as much of a jump. Like when you get to 3, you're like, wow, this thing's got a lot of power. When I get up to 5, this is going to be moving. And then you get up to 5 and it's kind of like, oh, it didn't really have much more than that. That was about all it had. That's my thought. All right, fully stopped, full throttle. Pedal assist is on 5, just to make sure that's not a factor. This is how much power it's got on flat ground. Again, battery not fully charged, but enough charge to ride around for a while. And there it goes. So it takes off kind of slowly. It might have a soft start. I also feel like it just doesn't have a lot of punch right off the line. Like that's full throttle right there trying to go up the hill, and it just kind of starts crawling right at first, and then it slowly picks up speed. So I would say, yes, fair 500 watt bike. Not a 750 watt feel by any means, but a decent 500 watt bike at this point. Again, probably the most comparable bike on the market. Electric, not electric, but electric, drop the E at the beginning. XP 2.0, very similar. This is $100 more, but you get a bigger battery. I think the bigger battery's worth it. Customer service wise, are they going to be better, different, same as electric? I don't know. Responses to me obviously have been pretty good. Is it like that to all their customers? Time will tell. I hadn't heard of them before the first e-bike review, and that's often how it is. Companies are reaching out to me for the first time to try and get their brands out there and get them noticed. So, you know, that's how it goes. We'll find out over time. But it's a little heavier than some of the other folding bikes. That's just something to be aware of. If you're going to do a lot of lifting with the bike, you know, that's lifting 70 pounds it's 70 pounds. Once you start riding, it's fine. You know, are there things that could be improved? Yes, but they're all things. I think where the price point is at is right. Anything you're going to improve is going to increase the price. I don't think there's a whole lot they could do with this and keep the price where it is. They do have the Pro model they have, which has some differences, then costs a little more. So they've got some options, and I think they're working on some new bikes with even bigger batteries and more things. So I'll definitely be paying attention to them and see what they do. I guess my final thoughts on this bike are that it's priced correctly for what it is. The quality is fine. I see no issues with it. I also don't see anything that's like, wow, I'm super impressed or amazed by, you know, this component or that component. They're what I would expect for the price that it is. So this one, I feel like they did a good job on. The bike is good. I'm glad to see that they're fixing the mountain bike from last week and taking care of that. Let's make sure we didn't miss any questions here. Scrolling back up through your comments a little bit. Let's see. I don't know who you're talking about. All the higher settings do is increase speed limits. That would probably be true on this one. What type of rider would you say this is geared for? This type of bike in general, not even just this specific one, but any fat tire folding bike, I feel like is for just easygoing trails, fairly smooth roads. Bike paths are fine. You know, limited off-road, they'll do it, but they're not the best for it. And if you ride a bike side by side with a bigger bike, it's going to be night and day which one performs better off-road. So it gets the job done off-road, but it's not its strong point. The strong point is that it can do a little bit of everything. It doesn't do any one thing great, but it can ride on the beach. It can fit in the back of it can fit in a trunk if you want to fold it up. They're very flexible in where they can be used. So rider-wise, I think somebody mentioned they were 6'6" earlier. You'd feel like it's some sort of clown bike in that case. So shorter riders for sure. Standover's a little higher on this one with the suspension fork where it is. Kind of lifts that front end a little bit. You know, I'm just going to take a guess and say 5'3", 5'4", somewhere in that range. You'd probably be comfortable on it. 5 foot? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. And not a ton of power. It'll go up the hills. It'll help you. But that's where it kind of goes into size, you know, weight-wise. I feel like I could ride it around comfortably, short distances or around town. But if I want to ride from my house to work, which is uphill, you know, a lot of elevation, it's not going to be as much fun as other bikes would be. It's not the best fit for that. So this is just kind of an all-around, do a little bit of everything bike that's easy to take on trips, that sort of thing. Can the bike be upgraded to 750? I would check their other models for something more powerful. This specific model, I don't think so. Let's see what else we got. Good stuff. Non-proprietary battery, I presume, as far as I know. I don't know that it's proprietary for any reason. Oh, here we got somebody saying, I see the price is $11.99. I thought it was $10.99. Well, I just looked at that earlier, didn't I? Right now it says $10.99. I'm going to refresh. Maybe it changed while we're doing the little live review. I thought it was $11.99 when it started. So I'm showing the EP2 500-watt folding bike is $10.99 if I look at their website right now. If you go to the Pro model, then it's $11.99, and that is the 750 watt version of the bike. So $10.99 is 500 watts, $11.99 is 750 watts. That's the difference there. Other than that, the specs are really similar. I don't honestly know if there's any other difference between the two other than motor power. Sorry, I don't know that movie. Okay, yes, it does say 330-pound load. I don't think so. I would be very cautious if you're pushing anywhere close to that. Yes, so they do have a 750 watt version of the bike. So no, not an upgrade. So don't buy 500 watt thinking you can upgrade to 750. Just get the 750 to begin with. So there you have it, Engwe. That is the bike brand that we're reviewing today, and fits right in. I think the price is right. The price is right. Haha. I do know that show. But there you have it. If you have any other questions, ask quickly. Aren't 750s unusual for a folding bike? Wendy, I'm going to say yes, that is unusual. Here's why. I'm going to address this question for just a second. I have put a 750 watt motor on a 20-inch fat tire little bike before. I built it for my wife like 5-6 years ago, and I ended up selling that bike. I know who has it now. When I sold it, I pulled the 750 watt motor out and replaced it with a 500 and a smaller motor controller. Because when I put that 750 watt motor in a little 20-inch wheel, the bike would literally pull wheelies all the time. It was almost uncontrollable. You would, get the pedal assist going on a hill or something, and it would just, front wheel would come off the ground. You could hit the throttle and lift the wheel up. It was ridiculous and fun, but not safe whatsoever. So usually the 750 watt bikes are not quite as punchy and torquey as that. I don't know of any 20-inch fat tire bike with what I would consider a real 750 watt motor, because it's just kind of dangerous, but it was fun. I liked it. So there we go. That's my thoughts on that. I want that t-shirt. It's not listed. This one right here, this is the smiling with the battery full. It is listed somewhere. All right, I'm going to answer that question. It's getting hot out here. We're going to wrap this live review up in a second, but I'm going to answer this t-shirt question for you before I go. I'm going to look on our website and see. So, secret stuff here. There's 2 places we do get our t-shirts from. The ones shown on YouTube are not from the same company as the ones on our website. It's just one of those goofy things we did a long time ago, and it's still that way. So on boltonebikes.com, under the apparel section, this t-shirt is there. So you can buy this. They are available. They're not underneath the video on YouTube, but they are available on our website. So that's where you can find it if you want one. Oh, Cynical Zombie asked about that as well. Oh, see, and Jessica just put a link in the chat there. So there we go. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for watching. I see a whole bunch of people still watching this live video. I appreciate it. Thanks for sticking around. I'm going to have more. I have a lot of live e-bike reviews coming, so make sure to stick around, watch more of those. We have a company called Mac Wheel. They're sending us 2 different models. I've got another Hemiway bike coming, and like half a dozen other brands that are already lined up. Bikes are on their way to us, so these reviews are going to keep happening on a pretty consistent basis right now. So excited about that. Excited I can keep showing you guys more bikes. Now, what I was going to tell you is because it's important for a bike like this. There is a little bit of a checklist you should do before you go for any e-bike ride, especially one that's brand new out of the box or a new brand you haven't looked at. And I did a video on that yesterday. So if you haven't seen that already, my kind of like pre-flight checklist for electric bikes, go check that video out. It just was released yesterday. You should be able to find it really easy on our channel, and maybe we'll add a description or a link in the description for that as well. Thank you for all the new members who joined. I saw there was quite a few of you. I appreciate you. Sergio saying, what about Magicycle? They are a company that reached out to me, but I don't have a bike on the way from them yet. They didn't have one available. They were asking for a review, and I said, sure, we need a bike. And they didn't have a bike. So not yet, but that probably will come at some point in the future. Thanks again. We will be back for a live next Friday for sure. But as you can tell, we've been pumping out a lot of videos. Go check them out. There's a lot of new ones if you hadn't seen them. And hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Thank you.